station. You just move and pivot in that location.
Zestos.
Reese's Astro.
That's what you do.
Twist cone. Twist cone. Twist cone.
We are at
We are in this area.
We're getting close to the sea lions. You trying to look at the red panda? Because I have to.
I would be a tiger. I'd be a bald eagle for sure.
You don't want some stupid tweak when you're 15 years old to affect what happens when you're 18.
They want their players to be the best on and off the field, and it shows that they care.
From 3 News Now and the Omaha World-Herald, this is Omaha Sunday Morning with Jennifer Griswold.
Good morning and thanks for joining us this Sunday. I'm Jennifer Griswold. Omaha is not just a Midwestern city in Nebraska. It is the mecca of college baseball, a place of legends and heroes. Every college baseball season, each team begins with one goal: to step onto the hallowed grounds of sports history. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Megan McGill shows us the emotion that comes with the trip to TD Ameritrade Park.
Once you get off the bus, you get like a different feeling in your stomach. It's not really butterflies, but it's just something different you never feel. The only time you feel is when you're here. It's just pretty special. I love it here. It's a great feeling and everything.
It's something that I've dreamed about personally since I was a kid, and our whole team has worked hard for. So we all were kind of in awe at first, but once we got our feet settled under us, it kind of just became real and we're ready to go to work.
It's every kid's dream, really, and that's how you have to look at it. You can't look at it as a big stage you got to play on. You can't apply pressure to what's not there. But we worked this hard to get here, so we might as well win it while we're here. It's just a great group of guys that we're not the most talented team here, but we're the tough. We believe we're the toughest team here, and we're the grittiest team here.
It feels like we never left. It's amazing how fast time flies, and it makes you appreciate just the group of guys we have here, and all the experiences we've had this year, and hopefully continue to have. Kind of surreal, especially opening day. There's going to be a lot of people, and just kind of the buzz in the air.
It means a lot to be here. We're having a lot of fun, enjoying the experience. I think we just need to soak it all up and have a good time with it like we are right now. Omaha is absolutely, the atmosphere is amazing. Just BP was kind of crazy, kind of surreal. Atmosphere is awesome, all the media, our team's here, so we're just gonna roll with it and have a great time. Hopefully we come out with a big old ring on our finger.
And it's not just the players that have strong attachments to Omaha. The CWS brings thousands of fans to Omaha every year. One particular fan has been making the trek for decades from the Lone Star State. He knows Nebraskans are generally not big fans of Texas, but don't hold that against the Longhorns' loyal supporter. Here's 3 News Now reporter Shantae Passmore.
The road to Omaha brings teams and fans along for a journey, knowing at any time their trip could get cut short by a crucial loss. But Scott Wilson, a University of Texas alum, doesn't think about that.
This is my 40th trip up here.
His 38th year in a row.
Okay, Zoo, bang one today.
Wilson's here, rain or shine, Texas team or not.
The eyes of Texas are upon you.
Every June, you'll find Wilson in Lot D, decked out with horns, flags snapping in the breeze, tailgating with a cigar in hand, right next to this sweet ride.
This is a 1975 Cadillac.
The Caddy? Part of his CWS tradition, a dip into the Channel 3 history books, and there he is in 2014. You could say Omaha has become Homaha for Wilson.
Good time out in the parking lot and good time in the stadium.
Wilson has seen Texas take the title, or like this year, the team sent home. And this year, like other times, he's got words for his players.
I tell them I'm ready to go again.
Because while the eyes of Texas are upon you, the heart of Omaha,
the eyes of Texas are upon you,
is the true end of the road.
His horn.
Gotta love a loyal fan. One fan at the College World Series decided game time was the right time to catch up on some Z's. During the Oregon State and North Carolina matchup, a fan identified by his friend as Tim was tired. So in the bottom of the second inning, he decided to take a nice long nap. His friend sitting next to him let him sleep. Now a reporter eventually noticed, went to talk to him. You can see her there with a microphone right in front of him. Even an usher went to check on him in the top of the third just to make sure all was okay. Probably tired of all that rain the first week of the CWS. Thumbs up, he's doing fine. There's nothing more American than baseball and apple pie, but some locals and out-of-towners beg to differ. Many associate ice cream with the College World Series, but not just any ice cream, Zesto. Morning anchor Emily Zink takes us behind the scenes for all the twists and turns.
Okay, what can I get you guys?
There's nothing sweeter
Happy College World Series! Yay!
than Omaha in June.
A vanilla cone?
For a lot of fans like Rick Wilhite.
All right, that comes to $14.81.
Coming to the College World Series is tradition.
This will be my 33rd year.
And while you're in town,
Those shakes will be right out, guys.
chances are you'll satisfy your sweet tooth.
Going to Zestos.
Reese's Astro.
That's what you do.
A year after the CWS moved downtown, decades-old Zesto followed suit and sits adjacent to the Blad.
Any talks of expanding, or is this your spot? This is it.
It's cramped quarters for manager Brandy Wolin and her employees.
Right, I think we counted that it's like 10 by 10.
But even in the chaos of a mad rush,
Come with sprinkles, Oreo Astro, regular strawberry.
this team doesn't melt under pressure.
It's crazy how long people can wait for an ice cream cone. Twist cone. Twist cone. Twist cone. You just have like a little station and you stay to your station. You just move and pivot in that location.
During the 2017 CWS, they sold 5,000 cones. This year, during opening weekend, Zesto cranked out 1,500. They never seem to get a bad review.
It tasted really good.
Loved it, loved it.
Awesome. Yeah.
I think you might think it's pretty good.
And each year, new fans jump on the Zesto bandwagon.
This is breakfast, actually.
During this trip, Wilhite brought his grandkids from Minnesota.
Give it a letter grade.
He hopes to pass on his tradition
A+.
of Zesto and college baseball.
Sir, vanilla cone? You're welcome.
Ah, nothing better on a summer day. Looks delicious. A super sweet wedding surprise when Omaha Sunday Morning continues the story behind these beautiful wedding photos. Storms with heavy rain and thunder are not uncommon this time of year, so there's always concern about what the lightning will spark. A handful of destructive house fires have burned in Omaha since Memorial Day, but there are steps you can take to keep your home safe. 3 News Now reporter Megan Hahn shows us the options.
Blink and you might miss it. The spike extending from this roof is actually a lightning rod.
Lightning protection systems are all over the place. People just don't look for them. If you go up and down Dodge Street from 180th to 120th, just about every building's got them. You just need to look up and see them.
The unobtrusive system packs a punch. The wires guide a potential hit of lightning to the ground.
Important things with a lightning protection system is you have to make sure that all 3 services are bonded in. It has to be tied to the water, the gas, and the electrical. We try to tuck everything back behind so you can't see them.
Systems like these are popular in lightning-prone states like Florida and Texas and cost somewhere between $2,000 and $4,000.
It's the only force of nature where affordable protection is available. They don't make tornado rods yet.
Now they're gaining interest in the metro as a way to prevent lightning from causing house fires. This video is from the latest lightning-sparked fire in the Omaha area. This one overnight Monday near 25th and Pierce.
I've seen it turn mirrors into a sheet of glass. I've seen it blow nails out of studs.
5 times hotter than the surface of the sun, the power of a lightning strike is not to be underestimated.
A lot of times when we talk about lightning, a lot of people don't realize that while a storm may not be sitting on top of you, lightning can actually travel about 3 to 5 miles away from a thunderstorm. So you may have blue skies above you, but lightning can still travel miles away from where a storm is located.
Lightning protection systems bond to the gas lines to prevent perforation from lightning hits. Experts also say to validate lightning protection companies and have the system inspected by a third party. The first few days of summer have felt more like spring with highs in the 70s, but today and the week ahead, temperatures will start warming back up again. Plus, our wet weather pattern will continue the next couple of days with a decent chance for showers and storms, but by the end of the week, the heartland will begin drying out. A heartwarming story that we had to share, a bride wanting her father to be there for her big day. Sarah Gannam and Tyler Roki were scheduled to be married on June 16th, but Sarah's father was recovering from a heart transplant at Nebraska Medicine and was not able to attend. Just look at these pictures. This bride and groom surprised him by bringing the wedding to his hospital room. With some help from her father's nurses, there was cake and flowers. What an incredibly special day. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, competing with the big city can put a strain on small towns, but more and more residents are returning, and small towns are finding a way to reinvent themselves. In one Nebraska town, a restaurant is leading the way. We take a trip there next. From the hustle and bustle of New York City to the slower pace of small-town Nebraska, a pair of women from Tekamah, Nebraska traded in the big city buzz to return home and help revive the Main Street with a business of their own. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Brendan Sullivan takes us to the Chatterbox.
We describe Chatterbox as kind of a, big city feeling place, but with a small town charm. So Cindy and I both had experiences, in various big cities across the United States, and we really tried to bring that here with the decor, with the vibe, just with everything, and also bring a spot here where the community could gather in a place where people could go, because as you see, it's a small town, so there really wasn't a lot that was going on, and we thought that we wanted to bring something here so people can come and have a place to eat.
It fills a gap in Main Street. People drive by just to kind of see who's here and how many cars are parked outside and what's going on at the Chatterbox, whereas before it was just an empty building and an empty lot.
I would say it sticks out like a sore thumb sometimes.
As the town and times have changed, the town failed to change. We've just got a lot of old buildings that need refurbished. We need to bring a new look and a new atmosphere to town and make this a place that people want to stop and be welcome and be a part of.
I was gone for 19 years, lived in a number of big cities across the United States. And what I began to notice is the big cities have a lot of things that we should be taking advantage of in a small town. Farmers markets. There was a farmers market right when I get off the train. There wasn't a farmers market in Tekamah. There was, we have local produce, local beef, local, you name it, great local beers. And there wasn't a spot where you could have all of those things in Tekamah. And I think what drew me back was if I build a place like this in the small town, it would have a positive impact on the community. Whereas if it's in a bigger city, it's just another bar. But here you can actually make a difference.
I just knew that I wanted something more than I was in corporate America for a long time, and I just wanted to have, more of a control in my future in the role that I had, and also make a difference, whatever that meant. To me, now it means, making a difference in this community.
It was named after my grandfather, who flew B-25s in World War II, and his plane was called the Chatterbox, so that's where the name came from. And we just try to do a lot locally. And in a lot of ways, it becomes more of a community center than just another bar and restaurant. We have a farmers market that we have in the summer and in the fall. And then at Christmas time, we actually one of the school groups sold Christmas trees, and the money was reinvested locally. It went to local charities, so that was kind of fun.
The Chatterbox is a wonderful addition to Tekamah, Nebraska, and to the downtown development of Tekamah.
Love the history of the name. The Chatterbox recently won a state renovation award. It's a disease with no cure that takes its toll on both patients and their caregivers. And as we mark the longest day of the year, those affected by Alzheimer's raised awareness. Why they say it's so important to keep talking about the disease. This week on CBS Sunday Morning, he is a rock icon. From Ziggy Stardust to Major Tom, David Bowie was on a level all his own. Now an exhibit all about the star is ready to entertain fans. Tracy Smith joins us this week. Tracy, tell us about this new exhibit.
So Serena Altschul takes us to the Brooklyn Museum and this David Bowie exhibit called David Bowie Is. And it's more than 300 objects from his personal archive. And these are really cool things. They're costumes, they're handwritten lyrics. It's really neat, and it really shows the range of this artist. I think we have a little clip talking about it.
Music pioneer, fashion icon, gender-bending rebel. David Bowie was all of those things.
I think more than anybody, he's been a great visualizer of music.
An artist of sound and vision.
But he kind of rewrote the book of rock and roll and said, you don't have to be one character your whole career.
I mean, isn't that true? He transformed himself from Major Tom to Ziggy Stardust to R&B David Bowie. And one of his friends in this story says, you know, he was like the Beatles, except instead of 4 people, he was one person who could kind of be 4 different people. One of the really cool things about him, and you see that in this exhibit.
Sounds awesome. That story and much more coming up at 8 on CBS Sunday Morning with Jane Pauley. We're continuing our mission of raising awareness of Alzheimer's, a disease for which there is no prevention methods or cure. But researchers are working to change that. This past Thursday, on the longest day of the year, the Alzheimer's Association honored patients and caregivers. 3 News Now reporter Megan Stewart attended their event in La Vista.
This entertainment, it just helps lighten your day.
Alzheimer's research is so important to Claudia Doofman. Within the last year, she lost both of her parents to the disease.
If they're not with you at that time, they're still hearing you.
Doing all those little things that come so naturally to you isn't easy for someone with Alzheimer's. They may forget how to button. It may take them 3 or 4 times as long just to do a simple task.
Granville Villas Assisted Living is participating in the longest day. It's an event by the Alzheimer's Association on the longest day of the year to bring awareness to the disease and help raise money for a cure.
In general, age is the biggest risk factor. As someone is diagnosed, the reality is just that everyone's Alzheimer's journey is different.
The day is also a nod to caregivers.
Caregivers are just wonderful. They're like in a class of their own. You have to have such a good heart.
Besides raising awareness and money, ultimately the day is about bringing comfort to patients and families who go through so much.
Because you never know when it's going to happen to someone in your family. It's a horrible, horrible disease to not have an answer for it.
Megan Stewart, 3 News Now.
Events for the public lasted through the weekend with a yard sale. Money raised goes toward Alzheimer's research. There's a lot going on this week in Omaha. Here's a look at 3 things you need to know about. It's a chance to see the Omaha Zoo in a whole new light. Zoo managers plan to show off their version of nightlife. It combines drinks, food trucks, and animals. The Late Night at the Zoo program kicks off Thursday. The cost is $10 for zoo members, $15 for non-members. Remember, it's a 21 and older crowd-only event. Junk Stock is marking its 16th show this weekend out at Sycamore Farms in Waterloo. Today is the last day to go check it out. They mix things up by adding night hours. They're calling it Underneath the Stars. They have food, vintage furniture, clothes, and artisan crafts. And new this time, a vintage 1950s Ferris wheel. Some love them, others loathe them. It's that time of year. Fireworks sales start tomorrow in Omaha. From Monday through the 4th of July holiday, fireworks are legal in Omaha city limits, but remember, you can only shoot them off between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. For teens, social media is king, but what they're posting now could affect them years later. Still ahead, how a comment by Nebraska football coach Scott Frost got teens talking about their social media footprint when Omaha Sunday Morning continues.
This Sunday morning, an exhibit that rocks, remembering David Bowie. Plus, have you heard about the latest trend at work? Take Friday off. Listen for the trumpet.
It's been a week of wins and losses, each game bringing teams closer to the title of College World Series national champions. And on each team roster, there's a collection of personalities and characters. Omaha World-Herald visual journalist Megan McGill goes behind the scenes to see what makes each of them unique as they prepare to battle it out for a national championship.
Walk-up song? Well, it'd have to be House of Pain and Jump Around.
Probably go something from the 80s, like Queen or something. Probably Nirvana.
Either the Eagles, Michael Jackson, or Kendrick Lamar.
Dr. Dre did Ring Ding Dong, so I think that'd be it.
I would have to say Lil Wayne.
Future, 100%. Yeah, Future's been my guy since like freshman year of high school, so that's a no-brainer.
Gonna have to say Nickelback. Easiest way? Oh, there's several ways to do that, and I've kind of mastered them all by now.
I'd say not going hard, not those strikes. Be late. He won't coach late players.
Strike out with bases loaded, less than 2 outs.
You can err. Wear your hat backwards. Pick up a bat and try to hit BP.
We gotta follow the rules, stick to the game plan, trust the process, and we'll get the results. We need 35 leaders, everyone leading, and we'll get to where we want to go. I'll bet you one thing, if you listen to what I say, you guys will succeed. If there's one thing I know, that's it, boys. Omaha.
You know what, Trevor? I'd rather have you just strike out there. I mean, there's just no reason to get into a double play. It's just not what our team needs. Maybe hit a home run next time, too. You keep your spinal deviation, your radial deviation, you'll be up there ready to hit.
Bring it in tighter, guys. Come on, a little closer. Let's have a little strength and rhythm at the top. Throw the ball at the bottom of the zone. Come on, attack the location.
Coach, I'm sorry, but I had to do this. All right, so you got a nice wind blowing out to left today, fellas. You're gonna have to stay really focused. Maybe hit the ball on the ground, you get a chance. Bang!
You gotta wear the same pair of socks. That's always gotta be a must. Also undershirt.
Pretty much just eat the same thing if I'm doing good, or kind of change it up if I'm not doing good.
During the game, I enter the mound on the same side every time.
Just because we've never been able to bring one back to Chapel Hill, a national championship, so this is our year to do it, and we'll take all the support we can get.
We got a lot of good guys on the team. We play hard and we play together. Because we're the most fun team, we're the most loose team. You're gonna see our dugout, we get energetic, and we're the best. Go Dogs.
Because we're gonna win it.
Why not cheer for us? We bring the intensity, and I feel like we have the rowdiest fans, just no one really knows about us because we're so far in the desert.
We're all pretty fun guys. We have fun with the fans, so we're lovable. We work hard 24/7, and we just, again, we're lovable. Yeah, so that works.
I hope they don't get in trouble for any of those coach impressions. There were some good ones. The players spent a lot of time off the field in town, too. Mississippi State came into the tournament the underdogs and quickly won over fans. They let us tag along as they check out all Omaha has to offer. And they talked about the fun they're having while in town. 3 News Now reporter Maya Sines has their story.
Now we are at we are in this area.
We're getting close to the sea lions.
It's not every day you see a group of bulldogs at the Omaha Henry Dorley Zoo.
I really want to hold a goose.
With a mission to have fun on their day off.
A deep one. My love language. It's awesome. We've been trying to do as much as we possibly can and explore. And we've been down, we've walked all around our hotel. We've walked all the way past the field, all the way to the other side. We're trying to experience as much as Omaha as we can.
It's always been my dream to be here, and I'm finally here, so it's really awesome.
All while making more new Omaha friends.
What's up, buddy? You trying to look at the red panda? Because I am too.
And learn more about animals.
Do antelopes eat cantaloupes?
Is cantaloupe in Africa? No, sir.
From gorillas to under the sea. They solve everything.
I want to touch you.
And even though they're bulldogs, there are a couple animals they'd want to be.
I would be a tiger, because at that point I don't think anything could kill me, and I could just hunt and be fluffy and happy, and then still people would try to own me as a pet.
Oh, I'd be a bald eagle for sure, because I want to fly.
Be the shark. Just because I love the water, and those are kind of the, if you're going to be in the sea, you're going to want to be a shark, I guess, kind of dominant.
The red panda, because it's cute and you just want to cuddle it.
It's great that they get some downtime to enjoy Omaha as well. Fun to see. A first-of-its-kind matchup is coming to Omaha, and it has many metro area baseball fans pumped. The Royals and Tigers will play a regular season game at TD Ameritrade Park on June 13th, 2019, 2 days before the next College World Series starts. ESPN will televise the contest. Ticket information will be announced at a later date. Most parents of tweens and teens have probably at some point had to talk with their kids about social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, all ways young people choose to communicate today. But many forget that what you put on your social media account can spread way beyond your friends list. Nebraska's new football coach put the spotlight on that this week when he made it clear that a player's social media history is under the microscope. 3 News Now reporter Alexa Ray spoke with high school players and their coach about this new policy and their views on social media.
One post is all it takes.
It takes 2 fingers to remember it forever. You can delete it, but after you post it, everybody can see it.
That's the message behind Husker coach Scott Frost's warning to any Husker hopeful. Frost saying that Husker staff will be checking all recruit social media presence for anything negative about race, sexuality, and gender, to name a few. In short, checking a player's character on and off the field. Something Bellevue West head football coach Michael Huffman has told his players from day one.
Because you don't want some stupid tweet when you're 15 years old to affect what happens when you're 18.
Huffman says the first thing he checks every morning are his players' social media feeds, because he knows that is how they communicate their lives on and off the field. His players agreeing it's a place they are part of often.
It's actually a great tool if you're trying to meet new people or promote something that you are doing.
Well, I follow a lot of football stuff, obviously, because I love football. So a lot of my stuff I go by is inspirational, because just my next step is going to play for college football and everything.
Huffman sets guidelines for his players when they are on social media.
First thing, there can be no bad words on there. And, as we were visiting earlier, they have to watch their retweets.
Because he knows firsthand what recruiters are looking for.
You got 2 guys that are A's in talent, but one of them's a C in character. That's a no-brainer. You take the A.
Players and coaches agree this new policy is a good step forward for Husker football.
They want their players to be the best on and off the field, and it shows that they care.
Because if you can control yourself when you're alone and behind your screen, he knows you can control yourself when you're actually on the team.
Because in the end, it's all about teaching these young athletes to be a team player on and off the field.
We don't care who makes the tackles. We don't care who scores touchdowns, as long as they're wearing purple. And at Bellevue West, everybody wears purple.
Frost added in his comments that for any player on the team will be dropped quickly if there is something deemed negative posted on their social media accounts. Nebraska twins serving together in World War II died together on D-Day, but one man's body had not been identified until now. How a Nebraska high school student pieced together the puzzle to reunite the twins in death, and the closure it's brought to their family. It's the final chapter of a story that began decades ago during the Allied invasion of Normandy. Henry and Louis Pieper from Creston, Nebraska died during an attack on board their Navy ship. Louis' body was found, but Henry's was not, until now. Now the brothers have been reunited, so to speak. Reporter Mark Phillips has the story.
Omaha Beach, empty and peaceful now. But 74 years ago today, 13 days after D-Day, Allied forces were frantically landing soldiers and supplies, beginning their push through France. Making a run to the beach on their tank landing craft were 19-year-old identical twin Navy radio operators Henry and Louis Pieper from Creston, Nebraska. The ship hit a German mine and exploded. Louis, full name Ludwig's, body was found. He was buried with other American casualties in the cemetery just above Omaha Beach. But Henry's body was never identified. Until now. 74 years later, the inseparable Pieper twins, whose service on the same ship ran against standard military policy, have been reunited. Linda Pieper's suitor would have been their niece.
But they pleaded with Grandpa, and Grandpa then wrote a letter to their commanding officer saying, my boys came into the world together, they want to serve together, and if they go down together, so be it.
And so it was. French salvage divers had found human remains on the wreck in the 1960s, but a positive identification was never made until a Nebraska high school student doing a hometown hero history project put together what the military had not.
She ran across my uncle's names, and they said, oh, same name. Oh, same birthday. Oh, same death day. And she knew she had a story there.
Vanessa Taylor was that student.
I'm just really happy for them that they're finally getting to be buried together, and for the whole family that it kind of came to a conclusion, a happy conclusion like this. It's very exciting for them, I'm sure.
The Pieper boys were given full military honors, inseparable at birth, in life, and now finally in death.
Definitely some deserved closure there. Here in Omaha, 2 veterans being buried this week got a major send-off from the public. Hundreds gathered at Omaha National Cemetery Friday afternoon to remember Thomas Hill and Eugene Tieneman, who both passed away without any known family. Still, both men had friends come from far and wide to attend, including Romania, Canada, and all over the United States, in order to pay their respects to the fallen vets.
I had a tough time keeping it together because I couldn't believe there were over 100 cars and hundreds of people here to ensure that even though Tom died alone, he would be returned to this earth surrounded by the love of Americans. And it's an extraordinary thing.
Beautiful to see that support. Dozens of Nebraska Patriot Guard riders also attended and held flags alongside the public for the funeral. Hill was a member of the U.S. Navy, while Tieneman was in the Marine Corps. And a show of support of military families pulled into Omaha this week. It's traveling about 25,000 miles through 45 states. A volunteer with the Wounded Warrior Family Support arrived at Omaha Stakes in a patriotic 2018 Ford Raptor. It has a wheelchair lift, hand controls, and other mobility tools. Along the route, donors can sign the truck.
We take mobility for granted. You know, I have my arms and my legs. Our veterans, some of our veterans don't. And this cause gives that back to them.
Each year since 2009, volunteers have driven a truck like this across the country from April to November, raising money. Organizers then donate those funds to veterans. We're continuing our mission of raising awareness of Alzheimer's, a disease for which there is no prevention methods or cure. Speaking to family members that could be affected can be a tough topic to breach. Coming up, how you can prepare for that conversation. Omaha Sunday Morning continues after the break. A look at what's happening this week in Omaha. On Thursday, Shakespeare on the Green presents King John at Elmwood Park. It all starts at 8 p.m. Parking is available on UNO's campus. Make sure to arrive early and bring blankets or chairs. For weather-related changes about the show, visit Nebraska Shakespeare on Facebook. On Friday, the Midwest's largest lobster and seafood festival kicks off at Tom Hannafin River's Edge Park. The Great American Lobster Fest is celebrating its 5th year. And on Saturday, capes and masks take over Werner Park for Superhero Night. The Storm Chasers take on the National Sounds. The game starts at 7. For more information on these events and many more this week, take a look at the community calendar on omaha.com. If you think you or a loved one might have Alzheimer's, it can be a confusing, emotional time, but conversations about what it means for your family don't have to be complicated. This month, we've teamed up with the Alzheimer's Association to give you the information you need to feel supported.
It is the fear of most people as they age. They'll lose their independence. That concern often amplified by an Alzheimer's diagnosis.
They think if they don't have a name for it that it might not be real.
They are worried about whether I'm going to try to put them in a nursing home, which is exactly what I try not to do.
Dr. Rebecca Riley is the medical director of the Methodist Hospital Geriatric Evaluation and Management Clinic.
People are always a little bit nervous about coming to clinic because they don't really know who we are, what we're doing.
To make patients feel more comfortable before they go into a clinic, a nurse will come to them in their home. It's a comfortable setting for them to talk about the medications they're taking, their health history, and the nurse can assess their living conditions.
If it is Alzheimer's disease, we drag it out in the light and look at it and say this is what it is, but here's what you need to know about it.
A diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease is not the end.
Clayton Freeman is with the Alzheimer's Association. The organization has a 24/7 helpline, someone always ready to answer questions. They offer advice about legal and financial planning and address immediate needs and concerns.
Things like support groups, education programs, opportunities to speak with our social worker, where we can bring in an entire family in and talk about the dynamics, how to plan.
Because the effects cannot be reversed, but treatments can buy a person more time at a higher function, allowing that treasured independence to last longer.
We don't want to catch them at the crisis point, where now all of a sudden, the only option is you have to go into a long-term care. We want to meet them early on and then navigate and walk with them through the journey.
Dr. Riley always tells elderly patients to not take certain medications. We have more information on that online with this story, as well as ways you can contact the Alzheimer's Association 24 hours a day. We know the landscape of Omaha has changed a lot in the past few years. Now a revitalization project has Omaha World-Herald editorial cartoonist Jeff Katurba thinking about the past.
60 Minutes goes on an adventure to a place with no police, no judges, and no crime. An enchanting island worth visiting. Tonight.
Sunday morning, we go behind bars at San Quentin with Ted Koppel. And back in time with Todd Fisher to remember his mom, the one and only Debbie Reynolds.
And finally this week, Omaha World-Herald editorial cartoonist Jeff Katurba has a question for you. Are you ready for a little time travel?
I'm Jeff Katurba. I am the editorial cartoonist for the Omaha World-Herald. Who's in the mood for a little time travel? Let's set the clock back to, say, the early 1800s. Back to about the time Lewis and Clark were coming up the Missouri River near Omaha. Ready? I'm still here, aren't I? Okay. Maybe it'd be easier if I show you a cartoon I drew about Lewis and Clark in present-day Omaha. It all began when the city announced major revitalization for the Leahy Mall and the riverfront. So it occurred to me, what if Lewis and Clark were visiting present-day Omaha? Of course, most likely, they wouldn't be writing in a journal. They'd be blogging. Here we have Lewis, or maybe it's Clark. I can never quite keep them straight. Blogging about the new plan for the riverfront and how excited they are about the project. And while the one is writing about how the revitalization will be paid for mostly with private funds, the other guy is excited that many of the existing trees will be saved. It was a lot of fun bringing these two back to life. Still, I'd kind of like to time travel. Like for real. Maybe I just need to concentrate a little harder. Hello? Hello? Is that a T-Rex?
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching Omaha Sunday Morning, and we'll see you back here next week.